This is 5 on your side at 5. Focused on you.
We continue our weather alert on this Friday. It is the final hours of our excessive heat warning, and today we broke a high temperature record at 104 degrees. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Kelly Jackson.
And I'm Ann Allred. This weekend we'll see some cooler temperatures. We'll see a drop in that humidity finally. Weather First Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell joins us live tonight from the O'Fallon, Illinois City Fest. And Scott, hopefully you found some way to kind of keep cool out there.
Well, you know, there's a little bit of a breeze, and if you're in the shade, you know, we've kind of become acclimated to this, and, you know, we're staying well hydrated too. There's no doubt about that. The dunk tank back here, I'm telling you, the dunk tank is looking attractive at this point because that water is much more comfortable. So, you know, at this point around the St. Louis area, we do have a situation where we are dealing with a few thunderstorms that have popped up. Now, at the moment, there's only one that's got our attention over in far northern portions of Clay County, over north of Flora, near Bible Grove. That's producing some gusty winds. There's a severe thunderstorm warning on that. You have a severe thunderstorm warning for that storm just north right now of Flora. And the one that was down to the southeast of St. Louis is kind of fizzled, but then there's another cell that's developed behind it. And again, these are storms that briefly can be severe, and if you get under one of them, you're gonna, you know, get cooled off and you'll get a break. The rest of us, however, will not, and as a consequence, we'll stay very hot through the evening hours. 104 for the high temperature today, the morning low only 103 degrees. So excessive heat warning continues this evening. We're not saying don't come out this evening or go anywhere, but you got to be smart about it. Make sure you're staying hydrated. Make sure you're trying to spend time in shade. And of course, you know, we've spent plenty of time today in air conditioning. You know how cool we keep the studio, Ann and Kelly.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Gotta be nice and cool. Be safe out there, Scott.
Most of us have been able to escape the heat by seeking refuge in air conditioning, but large animals and the people who care for them are out in these extreme temperatures.
And Tracy Henson has more about the effort to keep livestock healthy during this heat wave. Tracy.
Ann and Kelly, we spoke with a Franklin County rancher who has had to go the extra mile this week to keep his herd of cattle alive and well. Terry Schweppe told us he had to rotate pastures to give his cattle ample shade. The pastures with shade, though, have a creek that is running dry. To combat that, he's had to truck in water and pour it into old fiberglass pools. His cattle are managing, but patients of veterinarian Thomas Loafman are struggling through the prolonged heat.
I saw a horse yesterday at COPD that the owners weren't aware of it until yesterday, but the heat accentuates the toll that it takes on those animals.
Just like people, the excessive heat can worsen lung conditions. Dr. Loafman told me he saw multiple horses with heat-related issues this week. He said the prolonged heat has not helped.
For information on keeping cool, text the word HEAT to 314-425-5355.
Tonight, a Lincoln County Sheriff's deputy is recovering after he was shot in Troy, Missouri.
The suspected gunman died at the scene last night a few hours after police responded to a domestic disturbance call. Our Justina Cornell is here with more about what happened and new information about that wounded deputy. Justina.
Yeah, so last night, police responded to the 1600 block of Creech School Road in Lincoln County. Police say 54-year-old Thomas Rivera made threats. Now, once deputies arrived to the scene, they say they tried to make contact with Rivera, who was outside his home when he shot at a sheriff's deputy. Missouri State Highway Patrol shared that Rivera shot at officers, set his house on fire, and ran toward nearby woods and into a shed. A short time later, the suspect was found dead inside. Now, we've learned the deputy who was shot is 34-year-old Robert Wagner. He was wounded in his chest and arms. Police say his bulletproof vest was a lifesaver. We're told Wagner went into surgery late last night and the prognosis is good.
He was actually in good spirits. You know, he was surrounded by family, friends, like I said, multiple law enforcement officers from different agencies. He's even keeled, kind, nice. I've never seen him raise his voice. I've never seen him get mad. He's the kind of cop everybody wants to work next to.
I'm told Wagner is expected to be released in the next 4 to 7 days. He's been with the Lincoln County Sheriff's Department for just 2 months. Prior to this, he was with the Norman Police Department for 2 years.
That is good news. Thank you, Justina. The Major K Squad is investigating after a person was shot, then set on fire. This happened on Pocket Road in Cahokia Heights. Investigators say the male victim was shot multiple times and set on fire. He was found dead by someone passing through the area. The victim has not yet been identified. If you have information on this case, you are asked to call Crime Stoppers. You will remain anonymous. The number is 866-371-TIPS.
Just hours ago, a St. Louis judge refused to block an injunction on Missouri's new transgender care ban. Several families, doctors, and LGBTQ+ organizations asked a judge to block the law from taking effect. It bans minors from receiving gender-affirming health care and will take effect on Monday. There will still be a hearing on efforts to block that law next month.
A second man is charged for a kidnapping that sparked an Amber Alert earlier this month. Cameron Henderson is facing charges for kidnapping a 2-year-old after breaking into a home on Marbello Drive in North St. Louis County. Earlier this week, another man, Kendall White, was also charged in the case. Both men are behind bars on a $250,000 cash bond.
A teenager from Chesterfield made international news this year when he tried to drive a U-Haul truck into the White House.
Tonight, Christine Byers has an exclusive interview with the defense attorney who is now in his corner. Christine.
Kelly and Ann, the fact that 19-year-old Cy Kandula tried to crash a U-Haul truck into the White House is not in dispute. It was caught on tape and happened in front of dozens of witnesses. Now, his family has hired high-profile criminal defense attorney Scott Rosenblum to defend him. It happened May 26th. Investigators seized a swastika flag from the vehicle. In court documents, federal prosecutors allege Kandula told authorities he wanted to, quote, seize power and be put in charge of the nation, and that he would, quote, kill the president if that's what I have to do, and would hurt anyone that would stand in my way. No one was injured, and Kandula was taken into custody. He's remained in custody in D.C. ever since without bond. Scott Rosenblum entered as his attorney on the case Thursday. He says he's focusing on his client's intention or knowledge of wrongdoing rather than his actions to build his defense.
What will be explored is what type of person Cy has always been and what led up to that moment in time. Obviously, his background is such that he's always been a very good kid, comes from a good family, and they remain very supportive. He's adjusting as well as he can be adjusting at the moment, and obviously he's looking forward to getting past this ordeal, and so is his family.
Rosenblum says Kandula is expected to be in a D.C. courtroom next month for a status conference to determine the next steps in the case. Coming up at 6, see more of my interview with Rosenblum and what he had to say when I asked him if he believes he can win this case.
5 Jennings City Council members have sent a no-confidence letter to Mayor Gary Johnson. This comes after several employees resigned, citing a hostile work environment. The council members claim the mayor is abusing his power, forced employees to resign, and violated the Sunshine Law several times. We talked to one councilwoman who explained why she's so frustrated.
It's upsetting and it's embarrassing because many of us have worked very hard to bring Jennings back up to date, and Mayor Johnson included. I'm not saying that he hasn't done good things and he hasn't worked very hard.
A no-confidence vote is expected to happen Monday during the city council meeting. We did reach out to the mayor for an interview or a statement. He refused to comment.
Cutting